And Bob, you stole my line about the dishes. I have a slightly different version. I didn't even know you were involved. A psychologist wrote that your siblings are your first peer group and that they can have as much influence on your development as your parents. Well, that's kind of scary. Andrew and Ellie. David and I, who are 2 years apart, we formed our first peer group. We spent every day of our formative years playing together. I don't know if it was a mutual influence, but David was definitely in charge, and I, a very willing partner to go along with anything he had in mind. He showed an early inquisitiveness that sometimes got us into trouble. And here comes the dish story from my side. There was a time that he wanted to see if I could throw the plates out the window, across the driveway, into the vacant lot. Sort of like early Frisbee. And I was very willing to go along with this. Of course, I was just a small child and not strong enough to throw them that far. And they all ended up on the driveway, smashed to smithereens. But I look at it now as one of David's scientific experiments in flight characteristics. And it was our Aunt Florence, I didn't know Bob was there, who caught us in the act of David handing me the next plate from the cupboard, and she put an abrupt end to this experiment. And this did become the stuff of Pilmer legend and the retelling of the stories over the years. We shared a lot those years. We had sit-down family meals, church every Sunday at St. Luke's in Monrovia, summers at Newport Beach, boating in the harbor, and exploring, which Bob talked about. We explored every bit of that harbor. Swimming in the bay, and eventually our mother let David and I swim in the ocean side if Bob accompanied us. We shared the chicken pox, the measles, and our tonsillectomies. The family moved to Arcadia when David was 13. He was a superior student at Arcadia High School and outstanding on the track team. By the time I entered school, 2 years later, I was often referred to as David Pilmer's little sister, which used to really aggravate me. David went on to Stanford, and I to the University of Oregon 2 years later. We lost our mother during our college years, and David helped me through this very tough time. He was very protective of me, even to the end. The last time I visited at Thanksgiving, he insisted that he was going to go into the airport to help me out with my luggage to the car. It was only Linda who put her foot down and said, "David, you are not getting out of this car," and stopped him. After college, we went our separate ways. David into the Navy and me to Maryland to work. As good fortune would have it, the Navy assigned him to teach at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. David had married Linda at this point, who was one of my good friends from Arcadia High School. And we were both newlyweds, my husband teaching at Towson University in Baltimore. For the next 4 to 5 years, we had Sunday dinners together and explored the Severn River and the Chesapeake Bay in David's outboard motorboat, just like we did in childhood at Newport Beach. David's first 2 children, Alex and Denise, were born at the Naval Academy. Then David and family returned to California after he finished with the Navy, and I stayed in Maryland. But we continued to visit each other several times a year and made it a point that our children would know each other. David's son, Ted, and my daughter, Susanna, were born shortly after they moved to California in the same year. When I'm around Alex, Denise, and Ted, I feel David's presence in their being, and it gives me great joy. I came across this quote some time ago that is so true for me that I wanted to share it with you. It says, siblings are your longest lifetime memory bank, your shared history, the person who may know you better than anyone else. They are so deeply part of your identity that they cannot be erased, even by their absence.